This is the United Nations B-roll, but it's about to go silent. And now it starts up again. Why?
Emergency meeting to discuss about the North Korean nuclear detonation yesterday. It was again very shocking and deeply troubling situation that North Korea had detonated fourth time since 2006.
That we could correlate for our member states to draw the conclusion on the nature of the event. And this is what we're busy working on. First, to determine with certainty that we're not dealing with a natural event, that we're dealing with a man-made event, which is likely an explosion. And then, second, to find the correlation through our atmospheric transfer modeling into that Korean peninsula to link the two for our state signatory for a qualitative decision. This is what I can share with you at this point in time as I wait for your questions.
Thank you. Matthew?
Sure. Thanks a lot. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press. Thanks for the briefing. I wanted to, I was watching, I guess, the B-roll they put out of the Secretary General's meeting this morning, where I know that you called into. And he seemed to just sort of assert that it definitely was a test, the fourth since 2006, and he used the word hydrogen. Is there anything different in what you're saying to us here from what you said in that meeting? And is it fair to conclude that as people have written about what you're saying, that it's not yet clear that in fact it is a test? I mean, it may be a test, but how do you explain, I guess, the Secretary General saying it is a test, the fourth one, it has occurred, and what you're saying here?
Look, I don't think there is a contradiction between what we say or saying and what the Secretary General said, because I had a press conference call with the Secretary General and the high-level team in New York. We discussed the event. As we stand today, dealing with media, knowing that we detected a suspicious event since 2 o'clock, 1:30 UTC in the Korean Peninsula, and having an announcement by the Korean that it is indeed a nuclear test explosion, but bearing in mind the process and the work of the international monitoring system and the commission in Vienna, which is to give the technical specification to our state signatories for them to draw the conclusion, from our hand, we can only be cautious. We can be cautious to a point where we can say, definitely, this is what we have, this is what we give you, and this is a conclusion that could be drawn from it. From the SG's perspective, he gets the information from us, the processing that we're doing, which indicates, if I take a correlation coefficient comparison with the 2013, it's pretty high in terms of the seismic signal. If the signal is high, if the correlation is high, and if the signal is pretty close, like a twin signal to what happened in 2013, and we have an announcement, and the tendency is going towards a man-made event, I think at his level, he can draw that conclusion that we're dealing with the fourth test. And this is how I analyze his statement comparing to mine.
You have a different standard of proof?
We're not having, sorry?
No, hold on. You have a different standard of proof? That's my last. I mean, is it basically you're saying you're still being cautious, but he as somehow has a different standard of proof in terms of.
No, I think. Sorry, Mr. Zerbo, if I can interject here, just to make it clear. I think what the Secretary General was referring to in opening the meeting were the press reports. His only information and the only proof he gets and can get is from the CTBTO. He has no other information.
Absolutely.
And what he was referring to was what was being, the way to open up the meeting is just referring to what had been said in the press. Edie.
Absolutely.
Okay.
What I wanted to say, if you recall the discussion of the Secretary General, we didn't go into hydrogen bomb or not, which is not the work of the CTBT. What I did say, for any lab or researcher to make a decision whether it's dealing with a hydrogen bomb, there's no way to doing it without receiving or detecting radioisotope venting from the event, which we don't have at this point in time, and we will not have before a couple of days.
Emergency meeting to discuss about the North Korean nuclear detonation yesterday. It was again very shocking and deeply troubling situation that North Korea had detonated fourth time since 2006.
This is the United Nations B-roll, but it's about to go silent. And now it starts up again. Why?